The verdict is in, and Donald Trump has been found guilty of fraud in New York City, and therefore has been fined over $350 million, as well as being barred from doing business in the city for 3 years. Now, all of this, of course, is based around the simple fact that the partisan hack Judge Engoron came out and said, you know what, we're not going to have a trial by jury. I find you guilty on day one. And then we had months and months and months of him essentially just trying to have this show trial to determine how much Donald Trump will be fined. And now, of course, that fine has come out, and it is hefty. However, we have to expose how ridiculous this whole ruling is, because Judge Engoron, if you recall, came out and said that Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate is worth $18 to $27 million. And this was the basis of his ruling for this $350 million penalty, basically just saying, hey, you overvalued your property like 3,500%. Never mind the fact that according to Forbes back in 2022, Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate was worth $350 million by itself. Also, don't forget, Mar-a-Lago is a club, and the club brings in revenue. In 2017, it brought in $25.1 million. In 2018, it brought in $22 million. In 2019, it brought in $21.4 million. So basically, the judge thinks that it is worth less than what it brings in per year in income, all right? Which, of course, is laughable. And also, don't forget, we're going to go ahead and ignore the fact that homes around Mar-a-Lago sell for a heck of a lot more money than what Engoron thought Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate was worth as well. So here we have a home that sold for $50 million. Now, this home is on half an acre, has 8 bedrooms and 10 baths, while at the same time, Mar-a-Lago is on 17 acres, has 58 bedrooms and 33 baths. Never mind the 22,000 square foot ballroom, never mind the tennis courts, the fields, the oceanfront property, never mind any of that. Judge Engoron knows better than the realtors, knows better than the people actually making these deals, no better than the people putting up money to buy these extravagant estates just so they can live in Florida in this beautiful, pristine area. So, of course, none of this passes the smell test. And what we're going to see today is Kevin O'Leary basically saying that exact same thing. Let's check out this video.
This was a victimless crime. Nobody lost any money. And a judge out of nowhere put on a $355 million penalty. I mean, who's next? So if you think
Kevin,
about
I don't want to cut you off, but I hear about the so-called victimless crimes, but the laws on the books, falsification of business records in second degree, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, conspiracy, and all these different aspects of it, those are actual crimes. I take it your point is that these should not have been prosecuted?
Well, my point is there's never been a case like this in 75 years. Everything you just listed off is done by every real estate developer everywhere on earth in every city.
Wouldn't there be many companies who would not want to do business or loan money to people like yourself or investors if they know that they can get away with fraud and there's no recourse to protect them?
Excuse me, what fraud? In this case, even the bank that was supposedly defrauded testified and said, we didn't lose anything. We want to do business with this guy again. We'd like to. But the judge said, no. Let's penalize this developer for $355 million. And if we're going to do that, let's penalize all the developers all across America. They've all done the same thing. All of them should go to jail, and we should stop building buildings. That's what the message is from New York.
Excellent points by Kevin O'Leary. This was a victimless crime. It is the same thing that all developers do. No one was defrauded. No one lost money. All loans were paid back. And Donald Trump actually was sought after as a whale investor that banks wanted to go after again and again and again. So yes, this whole thing is clearly political, and everyone sees it except for the political hacks on the left-hand side who don't like Donald Trump and want him thrown in jail. Now, of course, on appeal, this should get thrown out as soon as cooler heads prevail. However, there is a tricky scenario happening in New York City right now that will be discussed now by Jonathan Turley on Fox News.
You said last week that the verdict and the judgment in that case is going to make doing business in New York about as attractive as buying country estates during the French Revolution. Kathy Hochul apparently had some inkling of what you said because she came out to try to assuage the fears of people who do business in New York by saying this. Listen here.
I think that this is really an extraordinarily unusual circumstance that the law-abiding and rule-following New Yorkers who are business people have nothing to worry about because they're very different than Donald Trump and his behavior.
Well, it's a curious defense because what the governor is saying is you don't have to worry if you're not Donald Trump in New York. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. That's why this judgment has to be reversed. But for businesses, if the only thing between them and this type of corporate public execution is the level of discretion of Letitia James, then they're going to move to Florida pretty quickly. And what's really insidious about this is that there's another provision in New York law that requires Trump to pony up the full amount or to get a bond for that amount just to appeal this decision. So it's a sort of a perverse incentive for figures like this judge. He made this so large that it could force Trump to liquidate assets in New York just to be able to get other judges to look at this. So it's a grossly unfair situation, and I expect a lot of businesses are very uneasy after watching this unfold.
So what people like myself have been saying for a long time is don't worry, this is going to get reversed on appeal because it makes zero sense when you look at it from a law perspective, etc. However, what's happening here in New York City, apparently Donald Trump has to put up the full amount of money anyway just to get that appeal. I mean, how socialist can they be? How dictatorship-like can they be in this leftist New York state where someone cannot receive justice without paying for it first? This is totally ridiculous. So as usual, people, stay safe out there. They're coming after you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.